Marhaba, welcome to Cooking with Habibi. My name is Maya, and before we get started on episode 2, I wanted to talk a little bit about sesame, the ultimate seed. Sesame seed is such a symbol of cultural identity. It's traveled far and wide before landing on the Big Mac bun. It's one of our oldest cultivated crops, first harvested in what we now know as modern day Pakistan about 4,000 years ago. Wild sesame originates in Africa, and as it moved around the world, it changed in size and color, adapting to its climate. It's such a versatile and beautiful crop. It's tall, stocky, with a whitish, sometimes purplish flower. It's nourishing and transportable, and it doesn't rot very easily. There's white sesame, black sesame, red sesame, actually 25,000 different varieties of sesame in China and India alone. We may know it as sesame oil, sesame paste, or sesame flour, even sesame seed. When I think of sesame, I think of tahini and za'atar, and I would claim sesame as a quintessential part of Lebanese cuisine. However, I think Japan would also claim sesame as a fundamental crop in their food culture, and so would India, and so would numerous other traditions and societies. It's the little seed that we all love so much and gather over our version of its preparation. Sesame is like people. It adapts wherever it takes root, and it evolves until it becomes a fragment of its new home. So, with that said, let's get cooking. Today's episode features 3 naturally vegan dips, 2 of which require sesame paste as the base of their flavor. Today we'll be making hummus, the iconic hummus, baba ghanouj, and toum. So grab your ingredients and let's get started. Our first dip we're going to be making today is baba ghanouj, which is essentially a eggplant and tahini sauce mixed together. And what we're going to need for the best flavor of baba ghanouj is an open flame to char our eggplants on. If you don't have an open flame on your stove, if you have a barbecue, that's a great option. And if you don't have either a barbecue or an open flame on your stove, you can always roast them. But I definitely recommend using an open flame to char these babies. I don't have a large eggplant today. I have smaller ones. So I'm going to be using 4 smaller eggplants. If you have a large eggplant, you can just use 1. So follow me outside and let's throw these on the grill and come back to do the sauce. I have my grill started and it's on high heat. I could see a flame coming, so I'm just going to go ahead and set these on here. And as you can see, I lightly rinse these with water, but I left the tops on. The tops will come in handy when I'm peeling these later. So I'm just going to set them on here. And this process of charring will take a good 20, maybe 30 minutes. So if you're on the stove inside and you'll see the skin, it just needs to turn like black. So I'll be back to check on these every about 5 minutes or so, but let's go inside for now and do our tahini sauce that these will go in later. So my eggplants are on the grill, acquiring their very nice char. I'm gonna get started by making my little tahini sauce over here. So for the tahini sauce, it requires a clove of garlic, a teaspoon of salt, and if you don't have a pestle, I would use something heavy to incorporate these well together. And I have a pestle, I use it often. And I just want to incorporate the salt with the garlic really well. Okay, just a couple more pounds on here. We should be good to go. So now that's nice and incorporated. You can always do this in like a food processor as well if you want. But if you have something heavy that won't shatter, I would definitely try to use that to mash up your garlic and salt together. So next up, I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of tahini. And if you have tahini and it seems like the sesame oil has come to the top, you want to try to incorporate it with the paste at the bottom. So that way you ensure you get the best flavor. And here we go. All right, I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of tahini. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I've added my tahini. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup, slowly, a 1/4 cup of water. And I want to mix this all up as I'm adding the water. And I want to get rid of any tahini chunks or anything that's getting stuck to the bottom. So essentially what we've just made is a little bit thinner tahini paste, but it's flavored with garlic and salt now. And when our eggplant is close to being done, we're going to add a little more lemon, a little bit of lemon to this. But I like to save my lemon to the end because once you add lemon, I feel like the tahini becomes, this mixture becomes a little more coagulated. So this is about what we're looking for here. And I'm going to go check on my eggplants and return to this to add the lemon. So my eggplants have been on for maybe 5 minutes, and you can see that they are starting to get a nice char on them, and that is what you want. This is what we're looking for. Eventually they're probably going to break and start to bubble the juices out, but you want the inside of it to be cooked and soft. That is what you're looking for. This color is what you're looking for. If you're charring them on your open flame on your stove, that's what you want. So I'm just going to pay attention to these for a little while and come back. So it's been about 15-20 minutes and my eggplants are nice and done. They have a really beautiful char all around them, and some of them are even starting to bubble up like this. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them off the grill and let them cool down for just a few minutes before I handle them. So my eggplants have cooled down just a little bit. They're probably still really hot, but I want to go ahead and peel them and let them put them in a strainer to remove any excess liquid from them. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel the skin off. And this is why you keep the tops on, so it can help you hold the eggplant while you make that happen. In some recipes for baba ghanoush, ask that you remove the seed as well. But we're not going to get that complicated. We are just going to throw it all in with the seed. The seed adds a little texture to the baba ghanoush. Okay. Let me grab. Just remove. And it's okay if there's a little bit of skin that just holds on for dear life, but you want to try to remove most of it. And you really want to achieve this on the inside of your eggplants. This little color over here is what we're going after. So I'm just gonna roughly kind of move these with my knife, chop them around, get some of that liquid out. And I want you to see they've already started kind of expelling that extra liquid from them. We're gonna let these cool just a little bit and expel some liquid from them. And I'm going to add my lemon juice to the tahini mixture. This is about a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and I'm slowly gonna drizzle it in here and get it incorporated. Got this beautiful color to it now. And that's perfect. So once our eggplant drains just a little more, all we're gonna do is add it into this, mash it all up, and we'll have baba ghanoush. So let's just hang tight until the eggplant's done, and we'll come back shortly. So it's been a little while and my eggplant has released some of the juice. I'm gonna take a simple potato masher and I'm just gonna give it one more last effort to release any more liquid. So it is gonna retain liquid, but you don't want all of it in the baba ghanoush. You don't want it to be runny. It's not supposed to be like silky creamy like hummus. It's supposed to have some texture, but it's not supposed to have all the extra liquid from the eggplant either. So you can see a little bit of juice came out. Now I'm going to add all of this to my tahini, the tahini sauce that I made, and take the masher. And this is where we're gonna mash everything together. You don't want chunks of eggplant, but you don't want mush either. So this is just perfect. And give it one more quick. And I'm gonna plate this and garnish it so we can enjoy it later. You can see the eggplant's a little stringy, and that's perfect. You want some texture to this. So, right, go ahead and plate this real quick. Traditionally, baba ghanoush is topped with a really nice olive oil and some parsley. So that's exactly what I'm gonna put on it. I always have a nice bottle of olive oil in my galley for just topping things with. Don't ever cook with it, but I'm just gonna kind of give it a little place for the oil to live in there. Grab my nice oil, give it a good drizzle, and I'm going to top it with some parsley. There you go, baba ghanoush. So our next dip that we're going to be making is also versatile. It can be used as a spread. In Lebanon, we call it Toum, which it translates to garlic. Toum means garlic, and Toum is a basically like an aioli that we use for chicken shawarma. We use it on sandwiches. We use it to dip vegetables in. If you like garlic, you want to make toum. So I have 3 heads of garlic that I've already peeled. And you want to try to use fresh garlic for this, not the stuff that's old and kind of soft to the touch. That's still usable for other things, but for this, you want like nice, hard pieces of garlic that don't have any, you know, bruises on them or anything. You want 2 cups of vegetable oil. And instead of putting it in a measuring cup, I like to do this because once we go into our blender to, in our food processor to make this, you're gonna see you want a very slow, steady stream. You don't want to put a bunch at a time of the oil in there. So what you're basically doing is emulsifying all of this and making it into like a paste. And then I have a cup of olive oil in here. So 2 cups of vegetable oil, 1 cup of olive oil, and a 1/4 cup of lemon juice that I have a little spoon that I will be adding into. And this process, once you turn on the food processor after you grind the garlic, your food processor is going to be going the whole time as you add your oils, your lemon, and let's move to the food processor so I can show you what I'm talking about. So we are here in my food processor. I'm going to add all my garlic, a teaspoon of salt, and before I add any oils or lemon juice, I want to very finely grind this garlic up so it incorporates with the oil very well. So I'm gonna get started by doing that. And you can hear it's not bouncing around. So I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna scrape the sides down. Scrape the sides down and give them one more whiz. Already smells really nice and garlicky in here. And this toum will keep for a few weeks in your fridge. So if you make a batch, you can save it to use it for your grilled meats, grilled veggies. I'm gonna give it one more quick whiz. Okay. And it is exactly how I want it to be. Scrape the sides down. No big chunks. Okay, so now I'm going to put this lid on. And once I turn it on at this point, it's gonna be a continuous process until this is through. I'm going to grab my bottle of vegetable oil. I'm gonna start this and I'm slowly going to drizzle about 1/4 of this bottle at a time. And in between that, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of lemon juice. But as soon as I put this in, and I wish I had a clear container for my food processor, but I don't. As soon as the oil hits, you will know if it's gonna break or if it's gonna hold and emulsify and become like a white paste. And you want your speed of the food processor to be at more of a medium high because you want it to be moving quickly. And so let me get started and show you what I'm talking about. This process should take about 6-7 minutes to do. So I Used about a quarter of my vegetable oil. I'm going to alternate with a little smidgen of olive oil. And with a teaspoon of my lemon juice. You don't want to throw all the lemon juice in there at once because like oil and water don't mix. So you need to slowly emulsify them together for it to work. So I'm going to add a little bit of this. And I'm going to go back to my vegetable oil. Slowly, a little bit at a time. And I have it's about a quarter cup, a third of a cup of lemon juice. Just a little more of this. And if you can do like a slow, steady stream with your hand, that's perfect. I just don't trust my heavy hands sometimes, so I've decided to put them into these little bottles, which works great. I'm gonna add some olive oil. And another little bit of lemon juice. And I can see in there it's turning a nice white, creamy color. So I've poured my Toum mixture from my container into a glass jar that I'm gonna refrigerate after this. But I wanted to show you the consistency of it. Since it's a little bit runny, but if yours is more runny than this, what you need to do is either add a little bit of mayonnaise to it, or another trick that my mom taught me is to add like a half a boiled potato to it to give it more of a, to make it set more. I prefer mine on the runny side. It's easier to just drizzle over things or, you know, marinate things in. But if you do want it more thick, you can add potato or mayo to it while you're blending it up. However, it's not necessary. If your garlic is fresh enough, it's supposed to form like peaks in there and kind of make a mayonnaise sort of. However, I live in the islands and we don't always have the freshest ingredients. I think mine turned out a little bit more on the runny side because my garlic wasn't as fresh as I thought, even though I purchased it not too long ago. But this will be perfect. This will be perfect for my chicken later this evening. I am going to set this aside and we're going to move on to the last thing we're going to do today is hummus. So stand by, get your ingredients ready, and let's move on to hummus. The last dip we're making today is hummus, a very popular appetizer all around the world. I want to tell you a few facts about hummus. There is actually an ongoing turf war about hummus and where it originates from. Israel claims it, Lebanon claims it. Everyone claims hummus as their traditional dish. However, hummus does not come in either from Israel or Lebanon. The first recorded recipe of hummus was actually back in 13th century from Egypt, and the full recipe name is Hummus Bi Tahini. Hummus just means chickpeas, and Hummus Bi Tahini means chickpeas in tahini. So today we're going to make Hummus Bi Tahini, and what we're gonna need is a can of chickpeas, and I've gone ahead and drained them, but I'm going to reserve the juice because we'll need that. I have a quarter cup of olive oil, a clove of garlic chopped up, a tablespoon of tahini, and we're gonna need about a quarter cup of lemon, a half of a lemon juice. So about a quarter cup. So we're gonna move on to the food processor, put all this together, and have hummus. So traditional Lebanese hummus is more of a silky, a silky texture. So we're gonna try to achieve that today. I'm gonna add my chickpeas. Gonna add some tahini. My garlic. My olive oil. My lemon juice. And not to forget the pinch of salt. So I'm going to start this and so as you can see, once I open this, we just have mashed up chickpeas here. Definitely did not have enough liquid to turn this into a silky smooth hummus. So I'm going to go back with the reserved liquid from the chickpeas. It's also known as aquafaba. Go in and add this little by little to this to achieve that silky texture. So I've added about 2 tablespoons of aquafaba. I'm going to turn up my add a little more, maybe another 2 tablespoons. And I really want my hummus to become silky, so I want to let it whip around a little bit. Let me put a lid on this. Turn it up a bit. Scrape down the sides, check the texture. Just a little more aquafaba to this, it looks like. Yeah, just a tiny bit more, and give it one really good whiz on high. So it can all, about another tablespoon or so. Perfect. We have reached the consistency we are looking for. I'm gonna grab a bowl and we're gonna go ahead and plate this in just a second. So our hummus is ready. It's a really nice, creamy texture. I'm gonna go ahead and plate it. And hummus is so great. You can serve it alone with crackers as a little snack, or it can be a whole meal. And occasionally I make like a hummus board where I do the hummus, I put cheese alongside it, feta cheese, goat cheese, a bunch of vegetables, some skewered meats, and this is the texture we are looking for with this. Just silky. Perfect. Perfect. Let me garnish it. Clean the bowl a little bit. Garnish it with a good olive oil. You can garnish it with toasted pine nuts, with some ground beef with peppers and onions. And here you have it. Beautiful plate of hummus. Thank you for joining me today in making 3 iconic dips that in the Middle East. I'm gonna go ahead and try each one. I don't have pita, unfortunately, at the moment, or flatbread that I've made, but I'm going to try the baba ghanoush first. It's eggplanty, little nutty in flavor from roasting those eggplants and charring them. Lemony, garlicky. You can taste the tahini in there. It's really, really good. I'm gonna try the hummus. Last but not least, I'm gonna give the Toum a little try. So good. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to give another special shout out to my cameraman, my darling Yatsik. And I hope you can join me next week on yet another episode of Cooking with Habibi, where we're going to link food with culture and just enjoy a really nice meal together. Thank you.